Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's Juan Solo here with ASQD Gaming, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you all so much for tuning in today for some more State of Decay 2. So in today's video, we're actually going to be going over all of the patch notes with Content Update 6.0 that just went live yesterday. So for the most part, we're going to be going down through talking about all the patch notes, some of the new gameplay changes, some of the new content that they brought to the game in this update, as well as some of the fan favorite suggestions by the community that Undead Labs has heard and actually instituted into the game, which I'm really excited to see this. That's some good communication between community and the developer actually listening and putting content into the game. So for those of you guys that see some content and stuff that you want to come to the game, make sure you keep harping to the devs, because there's a lot of features in this update that made it into the game that was straight from the community. So for the most part, this video might be just a touch bit longer because there is a lot to talk about. So without further ado, guys, let's jump right into it. So the first thing notably here is that everybody is getting a wizard van for Christmas. This was something that Undead Labs said it's common to exchange gifts around the holidays, so they're giving everybody that actually does this update and signs into the game a free wizard van. So once actually completing the update, you go into the game, you get on your radio, and it'll be in there that you can call in like a delivery for this vehicle. I'll show an image up on screen here. Looks pretty cool, and it's a cargo van, so it's going to have, I believe, eight inventory slots, something like that. Has a lot of inventory space, and it looks cool, so it only takes a few moments when you're actually in the game to be riding in style in one of these cool vans. So moving on, the first thing we're going to be talking about is some of the changes and balances they made to the Daybreak rewards. So Cleo guns are now actually better, and Cleo ammo can be crafted, as well as Red Talon contractors are cheaper, but they also got a slight nerf. So they also added some new facility actions that allows you to craft ammo, meds, and food, and you can teleport gas cans to and from vehicles, as well as repair kits. You no longer have to, get a gas can and repair kit, walk it out to your car. You can actually just teleport it straight from your actual inventory or whatever to the vehicle. Pretty excited about that. I was tired of having to run back and forth and drop stuff off in vehicles. They also amped up the benefits of allied enclaves, as well as added the option to dismiss the traitor enclaves when you're trying to summon a new one and there isn't any room left for them. They also added an ability to use simple consumables while you're in a vehicle. This goes with, meds, painkillers, that kind of thing. Anything that doesn't basically have an animation or requires you to throw it. So you're not going to be able to throw grenades and stuff out windows or anything like that, but you're going to be able to pop, painkillers and small meds and stuff like that don't require, throwing or an animation. And they also bumped up the size of zombie hordes late in the game. This is one of the things that the community's been asking for a lot, so when you get closer to the end game, you're going to have hordes that are almost 3 times the size of your normal hordes in the actual start of the game. Really cool, really excited to see that. We asked for it, we received it. Let's go kill some Zeds. So moving on to the Daybreak mode and Daybreak content adjustments that they put in the game. So Cleo guns have now been rebalanced to make them more valuable in the base game. So this doesn't have to do with the Daybreak mode. This is all of the Daybreak content that you can acquire in the base game. So all Cleo weapons are now 20 to 40% lighter, as well as 15 to 25% more durable. Obviously, bolt actions are indestructible, so you can't break those, but the guns are much lighter, as well as they are more durable. This is something that I've seen a lot of people talking about. They're really good weapons, but they break kind of fast, and they're really heavy. So with this update, they changed those, so they made them much more usable, I guess you could say. They're not, over heavy, and now that they are more durable, you don't have to worry about repairing them as often. As well as all Cleo guns, except for the pistols, are about 20 to 30% faster when reloading. Obviously, the pistols already, reload really, really fast, but now all of the other guns in the game reload a little bit quicker as well. So also, Cleo ammo is now much easier to acquire in large amounts. Though it does still cost prestige, you can get it in larger amounts now. So with the Red Talon crafting station now allows you to manufacture Cleo ammo at will, spending prestige, circuitry, and ammo for your resource stockpile. And now the Cleo relay now offers a Cleo drop alternative that delivers 8 stacks of Cleo ammo. So you don't just get the Cleo drops that have weapons and other things. You now have a separate one that you can call for that actually has a bunch of Cleo ammo, which is really nice. It's going to allow you to kind of stock up a little bit more on Cleo ammo, because it's kind of rare and it's really good ammo. So now moving on to the Red Talon contractors, they are no longer 100% overpowered. They are more likely 85% overpowered. So existing Red Talon contractors now have the potential to run wild and waste resources if their morale is low. So they also have the irritability towards others, which makes them more likely to start fights when their morale is low. So basically, in thought, keep their morale high. You're going to be in good shape. However, with this, they also changed the threshold that causes the irritable characters to fight, so that fights happen less all the way across the board, not just the Red Talon contractors. This is all of your survivors in your community. And now also with that, newly recruited Red Talon contractors now come with some minor downsides and quirks that are actually tied to their 5th skill. For instance, hackers snack more than other people, and like the logistics experts, use an extra bed space for storage. So that one right there is going to be a pain in the butt. If you don't have somebody that doesn't actually use a bed kind of as a skill, then those will offset. But they made them just a little bit less powerful with this, with all of these little quirks and stuff that are tied to their 5th skill. And with this all, with all the changes with that, they now actually cost less. So originally they were 3,250 prestige, 3,250 prestige to get a Red Talon contractor. So they decreased that by 500. Now they only cost 2,750 prestige to get one of these characters. So they're not quite as powerful, but with that being said, they are now cheaper to get. So for those of you guys that have a bunch of Red Talon contractors already in your base, you're not actually going to have that little quirk and stuff with their 5th skill. That is only with the newly recruited after this update Red Talon contractors, but they're cheaper. It's kind of an offset. So for those of you guys that have, a lot of existing Red Talon contractors in your base, they're going to be just as awesome as long as you keep their morale high, and new contractors now have minor drawbacks, but they also cost less. So now when you're actually buying a Red Talon contractor, you can refund the full prestige value when you actually reject that recruit. This removes the old incentive to exploit the system by restarting your game, and it's just nicer. So it made it so that you no longer have to restart your game to get that prestige back. If you try to recruit one and you don't like them, you basically say, I don't want you, and you get all of your prestige back. So that's it's kind of nice, because then you're not going to get, shafted by somebody that you don't want. It makes it a little bit more balanced, and it makes it so that it's, prestige takes a while to earn. You shouldn't be kind of gypped out of it if you get kind of like a bad roll on a Red Talon operator. So something nice that they gave us in this little update here. And then also, hostile NPCs should now properly trigger the detonation of deployable minefields that they stumble into. I know a lot of people were talking about this, that the hostile NPCs sometimes could walk right through a minefield and it wouldn't actually go off. They did fix that. So for the most part, that is all of the changes that kind of tied in with the Cleo and the Daybreak DLC items and stuff like that. So now I'm working on to gameplay. So we're going to be talking about a couple of the features that we talked about earlier with a little bit more information. So moving on to gameplay changes, we already talked about the ability to actually use consumables and vehicles, but they did mention, like I said earlier, that allied enclaves now offer a greater variety and more powerful enclave benefits to make the time spent befriending and supporting them more worthwhile. They didn't really go into too much detail on what exactly that was, but that was one of the biggest things that I did not like about the game is all of the enclaves that kind of wanted to be your friend. They wanted more stuff and more stuff and more stuff, and it felt as if you didn't get as much stuff back, in return. So now late in the game, zombie hordes can now be up to 3 times as large as before. Like I said earlier, we asked for it, we got it. Also, ranged weapons no longer jitter in your hands as you aim left and right. I never really actually noticed this, but it's something that's new to the game and stuff. So now moving on to facilities, like I said, you can now produce ammo, meds, and food at your base with the right facility and ingredients. So meds are produced in any infirmary from parts, chemicals, and ethanol. Ammo is produced in any workshop or armory out of parts and chemicals, and food is produced in any kitchen by spending seeds and ethanol. So basically, your base can be fully sustainable without actually having to leave the walls to loot anything. If you have the right materials and stuff, you can actually fully be a sustainable base and not actually have to leave. I think this is something that's going to be really cool as sort of like an end goal, is to make your base 100%, self-sufficient. You don't actually have to leave. In a survival situation, that's kind of what you want to do anyway, because of the dangers and stuff that are outside of the walls. So also moving on to graphics. So for those of you guys that are playing on the Xbox One, they tightened up the graphics to achieve a higher and more consistent resolution and frame rate running on the Xbox One. So they improved the camera transition when moving into or out of crouch while zoomed in, as well as reworked the anti-aliasing system to reduce ghost outlines and blur artifacts when rotating the camera, and also lens flare effects are now smoother and crisper. So for those of you guys that are playing on the Xbox One, make sure to comment down below after you download this update. Let me know if you guys noticed a big difference with the graphics, because they did tune them up a little bit and made them so that it was much more crisp and more consistent with frame rates. Let me know down in the comments if you guys noticed a difference or it wasn't really noticeable. I'm very curious because I personally play on PC, so I don't know how the graphics were running on Xbox. So last but not least, we're going to be talking about a few multiplayer changes. So the multiplayer section of the settings menu now has options for voice chat. Most notably, they added a push-to-talk option and left it unbound for players to assign as they wish. So also with this, when a player speaks over in-game chat, their player indicator pulses to indicate which character is talking. Some really cool things here with the chat and stuff, because before it was kind of vague and you didn't actually have a push-to-talk option, you know, with this game. It was either talk or mute. Now you can actually have a push-to-talk option when you're playing in multiplayer, which most other multiplayer games have nowadays, and that is on Xbox and PC. But for the most part, guys, that is all of the changes in the Content Update 6.0. Let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments section. You know, what are your thoughts? Do you like this? Are you excited about the DLC, you know, with all of the actual changes and stuff with this update, especially the community requested features, and what other features you want to see moving forward coming to State of Decay 2. But for the most part, like I said, guys, that's all for the video. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to drop a like on the video, as well as subscribe if you are new to stay up to date on all things with State of Decay 2 moving forward. But that is all for now. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you guys later. Peace out.